Good afternoon, everyone. Like for last week, we had the end of semester exam, so I do not upload any video. And today we will continue to talk about the book. So previously, in the last episode, we mentioned about the different calculation method for or different treatment for inventories. So today I want to introduce the intermediate good and value added. So the reason why I think this part is important because I met a question like this in a competition and it is hard to figure out how to calculate it. So you may have some confusion like if there is kind of like a marker, so like if it was being computed by different factories, like one factory computed the ink and another like computed manufactured the kind of like plastic, so how should we like calculate the total GDP being produced? So now in this really short episode, I want to explain and elaborate it. So many goods are produced in stages. Raw materials are processed into intermediate goods by one firm and then sold to another firm for the final processing. So how should we treat each product when computing GDP? For example, like you see there are 1/4 pound of meat to McDonald's and McDonald's sell you a hamburger for $1.5. So should GDP include like both the meat and the hamburger as a total for $2 or just the hamburger $1.5? So the answer is that GDP includes only the value of final goods. So the hamburger is included in GDP, but meat is not. So GDP is increased by $1.5, but not $2. Because kind of like because meat is being included in the hamburger, so we just only record the value of hamburger, but because it is the value being added. The reason is that the value of intermediate goods is already included as part of the market price of the final goods in which they are used. So to add the intermediate goods to the final goods will be double counting, which is also like something in counting, that is the meat will be counted twice. So it only like counts the burger's price for $1.5. So if you want to make it more easy to understand, so for example, the meat is $0.5 and the final price for a burger is $1.5. So it means that McDonald's adds $1 value onto the burger. So we only add $0.5 plus $1, so which equals to $1.5. So for economy as a whole, so we only the sum of all value added must equal to the value of all final goods and services. So GDP is total value of added of all firms in the economy. So which means if I produce the raw material, then this part of, since it's being calculated in GDP, then if I give it into another firm, which is made it into a final product, we only add the things being added into the product, like for example the market value minus the value that they bought like my product. So it ensures that all things was only being counted once. So there are also like something else. For example, like at least in accounting there is a monetary like principle, that is that we do not count like non-monetary items in it. But still we can realize that in the actual GDP we have a lot of things that need to be counted in GDP but cannot be measured by value. For example, if I own a house, then I live in the house. So it should be a part of GDP because like the house is mine, so because rent is being counted in GDP, so it kind of like GDP. I'm in the GDP's definition. I'm also like renting the house from myself, so it should also be added. For another example, like for some education, like the healthcare of, I would say, how your mom or dad take care of you. So this is also need to be counted into GDP, but we need to estimate its value. So although most goods and services are valued at their market price when computing GDP, some are not solely marketplace and therefore do not have market price. So if GDP is to include the value of these goods and services, we must use an estimate of their value. Such an estimate is called an imputed value. And I will introduce the imputed value in the next episode. Thank you all for listening. Have a nice day.